Hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. Today on Bones Collector, we're continuing our series where Lori and I are playing our way through our board gaming library. So we're going to play a couple of games, 2 or 3 games each week, and make a video about it and pass it on to you, and I hope you enjoy them. Hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. How you doing out there? This is going to be a commercial-free video, so no interruptions and no paid promotions, so you won't see that little thing at the top of the screen because I don't get paid for any of this. But we just got done playing Star Wars Villainous that came out in 2022, and Villainous has been out for a while. I should have looked it up. But Disney Villainous was the first iteration of the Villainous franchise, and they have Disney and Star Wars the second one. Oh, is there no? No, there's a Marvel. There's a Marvel Villainous also. I have never played any of them. This is the first one that we've played. And the only reason we're playing it is it was a gift, a Christmas gift from our loving daughter-in-law, and we enjoy that she took the time to kind of look at a game and buy it for us. And I didn't have very high expectations, but let me talk about it a little bit before I get into that. Let's talk about the production of the game. The card stock is decent. It's okay. It's not the best stuff. I wish they had put a little more money into that and got linen cards for this game. But they didn't, but it's okay. It's not horrible cardstock, but it's okay. And then you have this little tray that holds tokens, and it'll go right in the box too, because it's got a nice insert in here. Let me take a minute and show that to you. Pretty neat insert. It holds all the figures and all the sector boards and the decks of cards in the box. So that's pretty nice. So it has an insert in here.
But it won't hold sleeved cards.
Yeah, it will not hold sleeve cards, so that's kind of a bummer. Because we put some sleeves on them just to check, and it will not hold sleeve cards. The sector boards are kind of thin. They're in 2 pieces. They fold out like that to play the game, and they're kind of thin. That's kind of thin cardboard. I wish those had been a little thicker. You know, but I mean, you know, it's the type of thing where how much is that going to bother you when you're playing a good game? You know, it's some people it bothers them a lot, but others it doesn't bother at all, and it doesn't bother me at all. The game, when I'm playing the game, I'm thinking so hard I don't really care. And then you have for each character one of these sculpted mini type of things that are, I don't know what you call them, marbly type of effect inside. There's stuff inside them. So I want to give a shout out to Ravensburger Games for not giving us those stupid unpainted gray minis that come in just about every game nowadays. These are very cool, and I like them. This is Saj Ventress is her name. She's kind of purple with just cool sculpts. I really like them. This is Moff Gideon. If you're familiar with the Star Wars universe, there's 5 of the villains in the Star Wars universe that come in this particular base box, and there's supposedly going to be some expansions with new characters. So I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to be. And then each character also has a villain guide that is made out of just paper, and these will definitely wear out and tear. I told Lori the best thing to do is take this to a office supply place and have them laminate this flat, and they'll fit right in the box like that. But if you're just constantly, because you're going to be reading this while you're learning this game, and you're constantly bending these, and they will eventually wear out and tear. I mean, I've seen it in board gaming before, so I would take the time or whatever you have to do if you really love this game to get these laminated. And you have one for each character, and each character in this game has a different objective. There's variable player powers, and the way to win this game is to complete your objective first, and the game's done. When you complete your objective, you're the winner. But Villainous came out 2022, this particular Star Wars thing, 2 to 4 players by Prospero Hall and Michael Mulvihill, the designers. It's a hand management and lots of take that and asymmetric player powers. I talked about that. And then the winning condition is completing your objective first. And on your turn, you're simply going to take your character and move to one of these 4 spaces on your sector board and take the 4 actions, if you can, that are in that particular space. And then you have a deep space at the end of the board here where you can play a vehicle card that will give you a 5th location. And then your first thing you're going to do is take one of these ambition tokens to begin your turn, and then you select one of these spaces to move your character to. Now, once you your character will start here at the beginning of the game and will never be there again. So once you select a space for those actions, you're going to have to move that character your next turn. There's like one exception where Saj Ventress stays in her space, and then, but I mean, 99.9% of the time you've got to move that person on your next turn. And then you're going to take those 4 actions and execute them. Now, this game is a card game. You're going to have to learn the text on the cards, and sometimes that frustrates us. It certainly frustrates me a little bit. Those types of games are, I mean, it's an acquired taste. And again, it's take that. So you have to have your thick skin on, because each character in this game has 2 decks of cards minimum. So you're going to have your villain deck that are going to be the cards that you're going to manage to try and reach your objectives. And then you also have a fate deck tailor-made for your character that your opponent's going to use against you. So your opponent needs to know what's in this deck. So when you play this game, if you're playing one of these characters, go through and read the cards that are in your villain deck, and you check them out, make sure you understand them, and then take your opponent's fate deck and read those cards and make sure you understand what they do, because you'll be able to maximize the efficiency of both decks that way. Because the first time we played it, we just set it up and start playing. When you play blind like that, you don't understand what's going on. You don't know what those cards do or what's in that deck. Can you really stop that person from doing that? Is there something in that fate deck that will help you do that? You need to know that, because there's just cards like this is Kylo Ren. I just got done playing, and he's got one card in his deck. I should have checked how many cards are in each one of these decks. Maybe they vary, I don't know. But there's one card in this deck, a Supreme Leader Snoke, and when he comes out, you can place a Destiny token on this Destiny board in the dark side. And his goal is to get all these tokens from the light side to the dark side. And this card allows him to do that every turn. And so that's a pretty powerful card, and the only way to slow that down for your opponent is for them to utilize this fate deck and just start blistering you with it, because it's pretty brutal. One of the actions in your spaces on your sector board is to take a fate deck action, and you select 2 of these, read which one you want to use, play that one, and discard the other. And there's lots of damaging cards in here for Kylo Ren. Things that would move these tokens back to the light side, make it very difficult for him to accomplish his goal. So but that Supreme Leader Smoke is a very powerful card. And I think each one of these decks has something like that in it, so that when you get that particular card, it will really help you and accelerate the progress that you're going to make towards your goal.
It's Count Dooku in the one I just played.
Yeah. And then Saj Ventress has another deck of cards. She's got 2 decks of cards, the Fate deck and her Villain deck, but she also has 5 mission cards, so it's a separate deck. And those mission cards, you have to accomplish 3 of those for her. That's her objective. And so to help her do that, she has one of her cards is Count Dooku, and when you use him to defeat a hero in your sector, he goes right back in your hand, where usually you would have to discard them in your discard pile of your villain deck and not see him for a while after that. But that's kind of nice. He goes back in your hand. And I forget, we played this thing 4 times. I played Saj Ventress twice, I played Darth Vader once, and I played Kylo Ren. And I think Kylo Ren and Saj Ventress are very interesting characters to play with their objectives. And Darth Vader was kind of a simplistic. I think he was a little bit more simplistic than these 2 characters. And then Moff Gideon was interesting, and General Grievous is pretty interesting, because you have to acquire these lightsaber tokens. You have to acquire 8 of those to complete your objective, and there's various things you have to do that. So I mean, I did not expect to like this game, but I do like it. It's interesting. Like I say, I've never played Villainous before, and I wanted to. I was kind of interested in it, but I just never had the opportunity to do it. Every time we went to conventions, we had a list of games we wanted to play, and Villainous was not on them, because I didn't think I would ever put that in my library to begin with. But I'm going to, in this form. I really, really like this game. It was fun to play. We had a good time playing it. You have to kind of put on your thick skin. I mean, there's a card in here. You need these ambition tokens if you're Kylo Ren, because all your cards that activate need these ambition tokens. And there's a card in here. It's Leia, and if your opponent plays Leia against you, you lose every one of your ambition tokens. I had a stack of about 8 of them, and I had to discard them. So you're like, oh.
Yeah, you did it to me too.
Yeah. So those things happen. So when you go into this game, you have to kind of know that those things are going to go on, because this whole deck of cards is take that. It's going to be things that are just going to slow you down when you're trying to complete your objective. And that's the way you have to look at it. It's not somebody being mean to you. It's just things that, and the game would be super uninteresting if you didn't have that deck of cards, because you could just, work your way through your objectives trying to seal the win as quick as you possibly can. But this makes it interesting because you have things you have to overcome. So it's another bit of card play that you have to unravel in order to make things happen, to get as close as you can to winning the game. Now, Lori won this game with the Sage Ventress just in time, because I was going to win on my next turn. So she got it done just in time, and so that's fun. I like that kind of balance. And the other games, again, it takes a while to learn this game. I think you need to play this game. We've played it just 4 times in a row, and with different characters for the most part. And then I think I would like to play it 4 more times, really. And I want to play with General Grievous. I want to play with Moff Gideon. I haven't used either one of those guys, but I've watched her, and so I learned what those characters do. But I want to play with them and have some fun with it and learn this game, because you have to play this game to understand these different decks of cards. Each one of them are tailor-made for your character, and the Fate deck is tailor-made for your character. Like this Fate deck for Kylo Ren is brutal, and the one for Asajj Ventress is kind of light in comparison. But that's to balance out things out. Asajj Ventress has to complete 3 of these mission cards, and there's several things on here she has to get done in order to complete her objective. So that's pretty hard to do, to coordinate all of that, but it's interesting. And so her Fate deck isn't quite as brutal as Kylo Ren's, where he gets this Snoke card, you need to slow him down. And this just happened to be way down in my deck, so I didn't see it till kind of late in the game. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I'm making a comeback now," because I was complaining and I wasn't making any progress. I was doing the complaining, the best complaining I could, and I was like, "I'm not getting anything done." And that card came out, and I got it paid for and got it down. And I mean, every turn, I was moving one of these tokens down into the dark side. The cards that you're going to use let you move the token 1 space, where that Snoke card lets you move it all the way to the dark side no matter where it is. So I knew that my progress was going to be double quick as soon as I saw that card. Now if that card came out at the beginning of the game, wow, I don't know if you could be stopped.
Yeah, but there's some Fate cards that let you move them back to the light side.
Man.
So
I don't know. I mean, if that thing came out like in the first 5 cards and you got it played, I don't know.
You'd have to really go hard on the Fate deck.
Yeah, it would be. You'd have to. I don't know if you could beat this character with Asajj Ventress if that card came out early. I don't know. And those are the things that you're going to learn, the nuances of this game, the more you play it, so that you know how to use each character. And it's very interesting to do that. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did. I do like it. It does have a lot of take that, and generally speaking, that just isn't for us. We have dice thrown, and dice thrown's pretty fun. You're rolling dice, and you're doing the same thing.
It is kind of the same.
Yeah, it's a take that game, and this is very similar. It has a similar feel to dice thrown, except you're using a deck of cards instead of dice. So, and to be quite honest with you, I think I'm going to sell Dice Throne out of my library at the next convention, because I just don't think we'll play it that much. And I think I will play this. I kind of like this.
Well, and it's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars theme, and thematically, it's very grounded in the things that you do with these cards, and the things that the cards do. So it's very Star Warsy in that regard. And I enjoy that, and really I'm interested to see what other characters come out. I don't know if I would play this at any other than the 2-player count. I really don't. We're going to try it because our grandson loves Star Wars, and he's going to come over and we're going to try it.
He helped pick it out.
But it takes up some table, so you could not sit next to each other. So you have to be across from each other, and then another person on one end. And I don't know. Three.
That would work. Yeah. You could do it. But...
You'd have to have an awful big table to play 4. But we're going to try it 3 and see how that goes, because I don't know how that will change the dynamic of everything happening. So I don't know. You can't. Yeah, I don't know.
Because when you get the fate action, you can choose which player to use that against. So yeah, it will change the game.
That's kind of crazy. But I loved it at 2, and I don't know. We'll see if I would love it at 3. But I'll have to wait and find out.
I normally don't like asymmetric player powers.
Yeah.
It's kind of why I stayed away from Villainous Disney in the first place. But I really liked it.
Some of the cards in the game are movie stills, or at least depictions of movie stills, and then others are like from it looked like they're from Clone Wars, that animated series. So, but the art is good, and the game isn't that expensive. I will say that. You know, you've heard me say a few things about the production quality. For what you're getting, it's priced properly at $40, I believe.
That's MSRP.
Yeah, MSRP from Ravensburger, and I think it's pretty decent for that money. Again, I love these nice, chunky, heavy minis of the characters that you're going to be playing. That's Kylo Ren. You got Darth Vader, General Grievous. I mean, they're made out of some kind of rosin stuff, is what and that's Moff Gideon.
Probably.
And just really cool. I mean, I like that. I like that they did that. Boy, if this game had gray plastic minis in it, I probably would get rid of it. I mean, that offends me anymore. I'm so tired of that crap, because that is a separate hobby, and I appreciate that people want to paint minis. Fine, go buy minis and paint them, but I don't want them in my board games. I want my games in full color, not in gray. I moved from Ohio because the skies were gray 6 months out of the year, down here to Florida, and I don't want to have gray in my board games. I've said that before. The book is pretty good. It has a nice glossary in here that helps you understand. The rule book is pretty good as far as telling you how to play the game, but I would watch a video. Rodney Smith on Watch It Play shows you how to play this game, but it has a glossary in here of card actions and stuff. I would suggest reading that and keeping it handy when you're playing the game. But as you get used to it and you play through, and again, what I always tell everybody, when you play a game for the first time, just piddle fart around with it. Just, you know, well, okay, let's do this, do that, and I mean, we're reading each other's decks and taking actions and stuff. Don't take it seriously the first time. Learn the game, but you know what I mean. Just keep it light, so while you're learning the game, and I think you'll really enjoy Star Wars Villainous, because I did, and A Power of the Dark Side. I felt myself kind of going over to the dark side when I was playing this, but. Yeah, so lots of fun here, lots of villainy, and I really enjoyed it. I want to tell you about it. They did a nice job with the balance of the characters, and it's just a fun game. If you're a Star Wars fan, you will enjoy this. And hey, you know, thanks for watching The Bones Collector. I love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. You know why? It's the best doggone hobby on the planet. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bones Collector, where Lori and I just got finished playing Lizard Wizard from 2021. Lizard Wizard is a game designed by Glenn Drover and published by Forbidden Games. The art is by Jacoby O'Connor and Annie Stagg. Excellent artwork in the game. It's an auction, commodity speculation, push your luck set collection game. Person with the most points wins. And let's talk a little bit about the production of the game. A beautiful sturdy box. Nice insert to hold all the cards and everything. All the pieces come in these game trays things. I don't know if it's game trays.
Yeah, I think it is.
Is it game trays?
I think so.
And you have lids that go on top of them.
And when you put the lids together, the first player marker sits on top of it, just like that. Beautiful
board. All the tokens are thick. I mean, these gold coins are very thick.
Yeah, this is the retail. It's not the Kickstarter, but it's nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want the Kickstarter. This thing is really well done. The card stock, all the tarot-sized cards, and they're all linen. Even the regular-sized playing cards are linen. These tiles, look how thick those things are. These achievement tiles, they're super thick.
This is the money. It's really thick.
Really nice. And then, like I say, you have these game trays, and you just pull them out, throw the board down, the cards, and you're playing a board game. I mean, it's that quick.
Setup was really nice.
Setup is really nice, assisted by that. But yeah, that's a cool art and everything. And we had played a game by Forbidden Games called Extraordinary Adventure Pirates.
Yes.
By Glenn Drover.
We had that one.
Yeah, and we had that for a while, and we liked it, didn't we? Mm-hmm. It was a fun game. It had a huge board, though.
Yeah.
It was a little bit obnoxious, the board, because it was so large.
For 2 people, the board was too big.
Yeah. So we let that game go, and but we liked it.
Yeah.
And I remember
it was
that.
a lot of fun.
And it was, I mean, the chunky ships that you used. I would play that game anytime again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. And same type of production in this game, just off the charts. And
off the wall.
I've never played Raccoon Tycoon, but Similar to this is what I understand, with one or two less mechanics or something.
I don't think it has a dungeon, and I think it only has 3 decks of cards instead of 4. I could be wrong.
Okay. So yeah.
But I like this theme a lot better. The wizard theme. Lizardy wizards. Better than raccoon tycoons.
So in this game, you're going to be, you have a hand of cards that you're going to be managing called Regents cards, and it says on the back of the deck,
Reagents.
And your, oh, is it reagent?
Reagents.
Oh,
These are reagents that you're gathering.
Okay, I thought they were regents. Okay, well, good thing you're helping me with this video today. Regents, I would be calling them regents. So you're going to play this card, and it does 2 different things. You're going to gather 3 of whatever it shows on the top of the card, 3 of resources. And then on the bottom of the card, it tells you which of these commodity speculation columns you're going to adjust. So that it goes up 1 for every one of these icons that are on the bottom. And so when you play that, that's what's going to happen. You're going to gather resources, increase the value of those commodities, and then you also have the opportunity, because you're doing that, and it says here down underneath the spell deck, that you can cast a spell when you do that.
Whenever you gather reagents, you can cast a spell.
Which is pretty handy. Tells you down here the 3 ways you can cast a spell. You know, you can, when you gather reagents, when you research a new spell with these familiar cards, and when you summon a...
Research a new spell from when you you take a spell and
I hate when I
cast
research a new
it.
smell.
When you research a spell, you can cast that spell when you take it.
Yeah. And these are, so you need to know when you can do that, because...
Or when you summon.
Casting these spells are really important.
Yeah.
And so you're going to play that and build up your resource pool, and you have a limit of 10 reagents you can have.
Yes.
And of these little resources, you have a limit of 10 until you start getting towers, and as each tower, you can increase your reagent pool by 1. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towers here right now, so my reagent pool could be 15, and there is a magic spell card that gives you...
It's right there.
Yes.
We came up right at the end of the game. We didn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
When you could store an extra 10 reagents.
And I had that the game before, though.
Did.
And it really comes in handy. And then you're going to take those resources, the reagents that you're going to gather, and you can sell them on the commodities market to get mana in your hand, and the mana you will spend on familiars or spells or bidding for wizards, and that's what you use the mana for. So it has a few mechanics that are very nice, and you're going to use all of that to do a set collection of wizards and towers that you want to match the icons you see in the upper right hand corner. School of Magic, thank you. Yeah, you're going to match that School of Magic, and there are also different schools. Each School of Magic has a different name, like this is Druidry, and Conjuring, and Enchantment, and Alchemy, so they all have different names.
This is
also
the one I like. How do you say that? Thaumaturgy.
Yeah. I don't know. And then
there's your 6 actions.
And then you also have these achievement tiles that you see on the board here you can earn. And those give you 10 points for each?
10 points. And there's a whole stack of them. So
and different things you can do, and there's a whole stack of them to make to give the game a little bit of variability. 100 mana, 5 conjuring cards, 5 sorcery cards, 5 druidry cards. They just happen to be 7 spells, 7 mandrake, 7, I call them hamburgers.
Eye of Newt.
Eye of Newt. 5 wizards, 5 necromancy, 7 familiars, 7 nightshade. Yeah, so different things, 7 towers. So different things you can do with these achievement tiles, and there's only 4 of them in each game, and they give you a nice stack of them, so there's some variability there. That's pretty nice. And yeah, on the back of the rulebook, and the rulebook is very good. You know, it's very good, and it's got a glossary in the back, an appendix spell list to tell you what each spell card does, and then also an appendix for the achievement tiles. And then on the back it has all your actions. You can take one of 6 actions in this game. And they are gathering regents, which I told you about, converting regents to mana, that's selling them, and recruiting wizards, and you'd have to bid to do that. Research a spell, that's these, right? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Yeah. When you take a spell, you research a spell, create a tower, so you buy those for gold or reagents.
Reagents, yes.
And some of the familiar, and that's these cards here. So you can do one of those 6 things that's on the back of the book. That helps you play it. So we're not going to go over everything and how you play the game. That's pretty much it. And we're just going to give our thoughts, kind of. How'd you feel about the game?
We didn't talk about the dungeon at all.
Oh yeah, it does have a dungeon deck, and that's pretty cool.
You
So
can,
it's push your
you
luck.
can enter the dungeon.
Yeah.
When you take a familiar, you have 4 options when you take a familiar, and one of the options is enter the dungeon.
Yep. Yep, and it's a push your luck, so you're going to turn over cards until you bust. Or,
Trap, that would be a bust right there.
Yeah, yeah.
That was bad. I put those right on top, okay. Yeah, there's, what do you call them, monsters.
Yep, and items that you can gather.
That's a monster.
Which I had 7 items at the end of the game. The person with the most items gets 10 points.
There's treasures, that's gold. And then there's a lot of just treasures that are items.
Yeah.
You probably have them all. No, there's a dagger.
And there's 21 gold cards in there, so you have to know that, because once you're going through there, once a person has gathered gold off of treasure cards, they're removed from the game. So you have to keep in mind, you know, it's going to get a weaker reward every time you go. And gold can be converted into points at the end of the game. Plus there are spell cards that give you extra points for golds. And then also you can buy buy the towers for gold. And there's spell cards. Spell cards change the rules of the game, give you benefits, and do all different kinds of things. And you get a ton of spell cards also in this game. Like I had a spell card that could let me go to the dungeon without a familiar action, so that was really nice.
Yep.
I went to the dungeon a lot and tried to gather as much gold as I could possibly get. But getting the spell cards at the beginning of the game is what's going to drive your game.
Because there's spell cards that help you when you're in the dungeon too. And I got a spell, like I had a spell card that I got paid every time he recruited a wizard or something like that.
But there's all kinds of these spell cards, and you're going to look at them as they come out in the beginning of the game and spend your mana getting those, because that's going to drive the direction of the game you're going to play and how you're going to play it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And once you figure that out, then you're off and running. But yeah, I mean, I like the game.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
there are some mean spell cards that we removed, and they're marked, and they tell you can take them out. They're not mean, but they're, what do you call that? Confrontational.
Yeah.
We did remove those. I love the theme. I love the components. I enjoyed playing the game.
Yeah, and this is a 2-player review. I mean, we haven't played it. And more than that, we've just played it 2-player.
The recruiting the wizards is very weak at 2-player.
It is, but I did steal 2 from you at the beginning of the game.
Yes, because you had mana and I didn't.
Yeah.
So how the 2-player bidding for the wizard works is whoever wants the wizard makes a bid. The other person either ups it or passes. That's it. There's no more bidding, no more back and forth.
If in the beginning of the game you have very little mana anyways, so when she bid on one of these cards, I just said, heck with it. You bid 5, I bid 6.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And then he took it from me.
Yeah, but then that person that lost the bid gets to take another turn.
Yes.
But it's fun. It's fun at 2-player. I liked everything about it. We only played it twice, but I liked it better than Adventure Pirates.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a little bit going on, and I probably wouldn't like Raccoon Tycoon because it would probably be a little bit
too easy.
Too weak, yeah.
Yeah.
And
my only real complaint about this game is this money.
Yeah.
It's really hard to. I mean, the fox is $1 and the bird is 5. I mean, other than that, they're identical size. There are 10s too. What's on the 10?
And they're the same size also.
Yeah, the 10 is a frog or a lizard or something. Probably a lizard. Yeah. But they're all the same size. They're all the same color.
Yeah.
And it's really, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to what number.
That's not a horrible thing.
No.
You know, that's a nitpicky thing.
The mana isn't real clear what they are either, but at least they're different sizes.
They're different sizes.
Yeah. So. The money being the same size is tricky. You have to know that and pay attention.
Yeah,
but that'd be my only complaint.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, we got this game for $25 at Barnes and Noble. They had a half off
sale.
And I always tell you guys the truth. I bought this for $25. Would I pay the $50 for it? I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't think so. It's worth $50.
It's $50 worth of production effort. I will say that.
But I don't think it's worth $50 to us.
Yeah.
To play it as a 2-player game, I don't think I would have paid $50 for it.
And the game we felt drug on for 2 players, and the end game trigger is when one of these decks completely empties, and that can go on for quite a while.
Yeah.
There is a spell card that lets you take remove 5 cards out of any deck, and that would speed up the game.
If that comes up, it could end the game.
Yeah, but that's providing a player buys that card and then wants
And
to use it and activates it. Because every one of these spell cards that you pick up, you have to activate it with a certain number of reagents. Like this one takes 3 Eye of Newt to activate it. Now you have to activate it in order to do that. But that would definitely speed up the game. But that's the players deciding to speed the game up. The game really doesn't have something that happens by design to end the game other than those decks going empty.
And we did remove cards from the decks for 2 players.
Yes, you do.
You do take cards out.
I said do.
You said do.
Yeah.
You do take cards out of the decks, but it still took a while to empty one of them. Yeah. Well, it didn't help that you didn't need familiars.
Yeah.
You could go in the dungeon for free, so I don't think you have you have one.
I took one. Yeah.
Yeah, he had no reason to take familiars because he could go to the dungeon without them.
Well, I grabbed gold with it.
Because you can get gold, yes.
Yeah. So.
And you can cast spells, but you had enough other ways to do that.
So yeah, it went on a little too long. And as we were playing, I said, what time did we start? This is dragging.
And we didn't keep track, but it felt draggy, which meant it takes over an hour because then we start to think, this is taking too long.
I think it took us 90 minutes, if I had to guess. But it feels too long, I guess, is the important thing. So what we're going to do next time we play it is when you match up 4 wizards and towers, which is what you're trying to do. That's part of the set collection because you get 10 points for doing it. Is that what it is?
If they match, if they're in the same school, it's 10 points.
Same school of magic.
If they're in different schools, you still get 5 points.
Yeah. So you want to, so we're going to put an endgame trigger of if anybody does 4 matches of schools of magic with wizards and towers, that's another endgame trigger. It needs something.
We're going to see how that
works out, because I don't think it'll affect any of the achievement tiles, because none of those really had anything to do with that. So we'll see how that works, but it just played a little long. But we like the game.
Yeah.
We like the game and we're going to keep it. And there's, again, the total package of this game, when you consider the production value, the art, these game trays to help with setup, and it's really a pretty nice game. And we enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time playing it. But again, we were into it about about an hour and 15 minutes. I just felt like, I was like, when is this game going to end?
Well, and there is an awful lot of adding at the end of the game to do your score, and there's no scorecard, which that really surprises me that there's no score sheet with this game, because you can't add those, you can't add that in your head.
Did you get that off Board Game Geek?
No, I made it.
Oh,
I made a little scorecard, with everything that scores, but all those things score, and well, we can't add those on our head.
So it should have come with a score sheet.
I think so. I think it would be better
and then
if it had come with a score sheet.
You made a sheet of...
I did this because I had trouble keeping track of my resources. So I made something that holds 10 resources, and knowing how many I only can have 10, and then if I have towers I can have more. I had trouble. The first game we played, I had trouble. I'd catch myself, I'd look down and realize, oh wow, I've got way more resources than I should. So I just made that for myself. You said it didn't bother you because you just kept yours in.
I kept them in 2.
In little groups, but I needed something visually to tell me if I had too many resources or not. So I did that.
Yeah. So.
And we did sleeve the reagent cards because they are in your hand. You're holding on to them. The rest of them,
they're just laying on the board.
Yeah, in the dungeon you're just going to go through and put them right back. But these are actually being held in your hand, so we did sleeve those. Just for posterity, I guess.
Yeah.
But
it's fun.
I like
it. It's fun.
I
the bidding, again, because of the 2 players, is a little bit weak.
That's the weak spot of this game.
Yeah, and usually is. When you play a game with bidding, if it's just 2 players, it kind of... The only time it really didn't bother me too much, well, Princess of Florence, it seems to be just as strong.
It's Princess of Florence, it's just you bid and you either get what you bid for or you get the other thing. I mean, it's not real strong either, but...
It doesn't hurt the game.
Yeah.
This hurts a little bit, I think, because you want to try to steal that stuff. Especially if it's... And there will come times when... Even in a 2-player game, you're going to bid on a wizard, and I'm already sitting on the tower, and I want that.
Yeah.
So you're going to.
So you're going to
You're going to try to outbid them, but you don't get another bid as the beginning bid player. So if you want that pretty bad, you have to ask yourself, I want that. I don't want to be outbid, so I'm going to. And you can see that everybody's mana.
It's allowed to be kept secret, though.
Oh, is it?
You are allowed to keep your mana and your gold secret. So that might.
Yeah.
Maybe we need a little screen maybe that would make the game better if we don't keep track of how much mana the other person has. The cards are all public knowledge, but you are allowed to keep your mana and your gold secret. So maybe that's something we
That
should
might help the
consider
bidding,
as
I
well.
suppose.
Yeah, to not know how much. Because I can look over there and see, he's got all that mana. There's no point in me bidding 5. He'll just take it. It'd be a waste of my time. So,
If I needed it.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's no. You're going to be going for different things, like I say, because at the beginning of the game, the first thing you're going to start doing is getting these cards, these spell cards to point you in a direction. It's a lot like any kind of goal cards common goal cards in a game. You're going to have something drive your game, and these spell cards are going to do it. And you look at, there's 4 on display, and so you're going to ask yourself which one of those would really help me right now, and help me. It gives you again direction.
And there's 2 kinds.
Yeah.
That one's infinite, and this is one time. A lot of the one-time ones are endgame goals, right? To get victory points from things. You had some of those, didn't you?
No, they're not one time. They're,
Oh, they say infinity as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
Yeah, there are some
But they're
end-game goal
endgame
cards in
goals.
there, and I would suggest if you see some of those. I mean, I bought 2 of them, and it
That's
gave
what
me,
won you the game.
yeah, it gave me a ton of points.
You had 29 points more on spell cards than I did.
Yeah.
You
So
beat me by more than 29.
well, as soon as I got this card, and it says I get a victory point for every seven mana at the end of the game. I just started. As soon as those tracks got to the top, I was
You start
selling
selling them.
reagents to get mana because I wanted points at the end of the game. I ended up with 200 and some mana.
Because
So
this Eye of Newt's on 12. So for every Eye of Newt he sells, he gets 12 mana.
yeah.
So if you sell 12 Eye of Newts, I mean, it's,
Then I had another spell card that said, because you can only sell one of those reagents at a time.
Yes.
I mean, one kind.
one type. Yeah.
One type. So I had a spell card that says I could sell 2 types. Well, there was 2 of them up on the track, and I sold a total of 7 times 12. That was a ton of money.
You made like $84 on one of your sales.
One sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, but you're still choosing, to use your turn like that, 'cause that's all you're going to do. And if you see, and I did, there was a combo of a tower and a wizard, same school of magic, that was up, and I wanted to get those because I knew she had like quite a few pairs, and I wanted to get those, but I wanted mana also for that spell card at the end of the game. So it was a tough decision to make, and you're making those types of decisions in the game. The game is fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it right now. It's fun to
it was
play.
Fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, we had a good time playing it, and that's all that's important when you're playing a board game is have a good time.
And the art is amazing. I love all the little creatures. The wizards are cool. It's a pretty game.
I remember when we picked up Extraordinary Adventure Pirates, how impressed I was
Yeah,
with
we
the
were
production.
shocked
Those
with the
chunky
production of
ships
that
were
one,
just
yeah.
crazy cool. And I mean, I think you had like a hand of, was it cards?
Mm-hmm.
A hand of cards to move, and then it had some tiles also. What were those real chunky?
Well, and you had meeples that you could pick up along the way, and I can't remember everything.
No, they
you
had
did.
some big chunky tiles. I forget, achievement tiles. They were very thick.
Yeah.
And and a nice insert in the box. So I don't know if Glenn Drover, if he owns Forbidden Games
I don't know.
or what the deal is, but very nice production in his games. And this is no exception, and it's very cool and fun to play. It's a fun game. Again, it just has a tendency at 2-player anyway to overstay its welcome a little bit. Maybe it goes these decks empty quicker at 3.
Well,
I don't know
but
how.
you put more cards in them.
More
so
cards.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it needed something else.
I mean, I was worried that we would want the upgraded components after we bought the retail version, and the answer for me is no. And usually I'm the one pushing to, let's upgrade this. These components are fine. These are very nice.
Well, they're fantastic. They're fine.
Well, yes,
they're
fantastic
excellent.
is a word.
This board is nice. I mean, it's a nice
Nice
board.
big thick board.
Yeah,
It's a 6-fold, so it's good size.
but it's pretty. It's a pretty game. All the art on the cards is just gorgeous, and when you're playing it, you're in that little wizarding world. So yeah, that's it. That's Lizard Wizard. I think we're gonna hang on to this one for a while for sure. But Lizard Wizard, yeah,
Yep.
hey, it's a fun game, and if you can, I don't know, is this called the Deluxe or something, or what is it? What is it called? The Deluxe version?
I don't think so.
Is this regular retail?
I think that's just regular retail.
Wow.
Because you can buy the deluxe components
Yeah.
extra.
But I mean, there's the one game that's got the purple.
Well,
it's
that came
Kickstarter.
from Kickstarter. I think the box was different, and I'm sure it had I think it had a wooden
Yeah.
first player marker. The trays are a little bit different. would probably have to be to hold the wooden component.
I mean, if you can get this for 25 bucks like we did, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a good deal. It's a fun game, and the production is, again, jaw-dropping and absolutely wonderful. And that's Lizard Wizard. That's what we think of it. If you, yeah, this is part of our series of games we
Playing
play
through our library.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just picked this up the other day, though, so it wasn't really in our library. But
No.
it will be now.
Will be now.
Yeah.
We'll be staying in the library.
We'll have a lizard in our library now.
That's a
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so hey, keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet. We love every one of you. See you next time on The Bones Collector. Bye-bye.
Bye.